Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of RDC After Hours. It is midday, but that will not stop us because this is again going to be a more conversational video than my race reviews. And as you all probably know, F1 is racing in Saudi Arabia this weekend in Jeddah. Jeddah Corniche, which is a track which I think a lot of people have some problems with because it is not exactly the safest track in the calendar. So of course, a lot of conversation is coming back around Jeddah and Saudi Arabia racing in general, and it led to me finding out about the Qiddiya project. I can't believe I did not know about this. It was literally proposed years ago and I'm only just learning about it, so maybe some of y'all also don't know about it, so I'm here to tell you about it, and strap yourselves in because it is crazy. So the thing about this track, it was proposed a few years ago as the ultimate destination for F1 in Saudi Arabia. Right now we're racing in Jeddah, but Jeddah is supposed to be like a temporary stop until they finish the Qiddiya track. And in theory, it's set to be inaugurated in like 2027, 2028. And so new renders have been coming out steadily since the project was proposed. And I think new stuff came out recently, and that's why the conversation has kind of started to spark up again about this track. So we're gonna go into the little side view here so we can see it more clearly. If y'all have a problem with Jeddah Corniche, get ready for this shit. People are comparing this to the Rainbow Road of Mario Kart because this is what it looks like. Why is it so bright? Oh my god. Shape-wise, it doesn't look terrible. I say this as someone who is really bad at knowing what makes a track good or bad. But really the biggest problem that I think most of us have with this track is turn 1. Get ready for this, motherfucker. That's right, this is what turn 1 looks like. Your eyes do not deceive you, you are not looking at this wrong. This turn is elevated apparently at a height of a 20-story building. Basically no runoff area, and apparently they want to call it the Blade? Formula 1 management, what the hell? Listen, the Blade is a cool ass name, okay? Super cool. Why are we naming a corner that looks like this after a weapon? Why are we giving it a dangerous name? It's not good. It's really fucking scary, man. If anyone has so much as a lockup around this corner, they might go and like join Senna and Ratzenberger. That's all I'm gonna say. And there's also a fan zone directly underneath the Blade. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I really don't like this. I mean, it looks cool in theory, but it's scary as fuck. And then other things that we've been seeing in the renders that have been coming out, this personally has me feeling personally attacked. Why is there a pool, like a glass bottom pool, right above the racetrack? This is ridiculous. I just don't like the visual of it. I don't think that this would be dangerous. It's just the image that there's people just like swimming in a pool while there's a Grand Prix going on right underneath. Also, I hope there's no like water that ends up on the track because people in the pool are being reckless or something. Like, I don't know. I just really don't like the visual. So apparently the whole idea of this track is that it's going to be essentially like almost like a small city, like a theme park kind of situation. And so there's going to be Formula 1, but there's also going to be swimming pools. There's going to be like an amusement park essentially. Without going any further, literally in this render we can see there's roller coasters back here. It's going to be a Six Flags, like not just like any amusement park, it's going to be a Six Flags, which if you don't know is a really big United States amusement park chain. Why is there a Six Flags in my Formula 1 racetrack? Why? Who thought that I wanted these things to be mixed? I don't. Why is the roller coaster fucking passing right next to the track? This can't be safe. And then another thing that sucks is this still just looks like a street circuit. What is this obsession with street circuits? F1, nobody wants street circuits, okay? We want permanent tracks. This is literally being built in the middle of the desert. You have all the space in the world. Why are you making it look like a street circuit? So a lot of people are saying like, oh, these are just the initial renders and most likely they're not gonna be able to get away with doing most of this. It's gonna get reduced to like pretty much nothing. And that might be true to some extent, but at the same time, this is the same country that is building the line. Remember the line? Remember that whole thing? It's essentially a city in the middle of the desert that is shaped like this. Just two tall walls, and the city just goes straight in one line for 100 kilometers. And it's this like incredible futuristic city oasis in the middle of the desert. They're going through with it. They're still building that shit. So who's to say they won't build this? I think it's pretty possible. And we're looking at it and it looks really cool, right? On the outside. And that's what I want to get at, is this track, to me, when I saw it, it made me feel so much rage inside, because to me, this represents everything that is wrong right now with Formula One. This is like the epitome of how bad it can get with the current situation that we're at. Because yeah, this is cool, and I'm sure it's really fun. If you can afford the prices of going to this, I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. But you have to remember, this comes at the expense of your favorite classic European tracks, most likely. There's two options. There's two ways around this. We either add more races to the calendar and continue to oversaturate it with shitty races that nobody likes. Miami and Vegas, I am looking at you, not respectfully, which I don't really think should happen. I mean, the idea of more races is obviously appealing to the fans, but realistically, it's not a good idea. I mean, not just for the drivers. The drivers actually have the easiest part of the job because they just arrive to the Grand Prix in their private jets and they just get in the car and start going, right? But it's the teams that bear the brunt of this, right? Like the engineers, the mechanics, all the people in the teams that are responsible for making a Grand Prix happen. And they have basically no time to rest. Already with 24 races, these people are very overworked and oversaturated. It's like, yeah, we obviously want to see as much racing as possible, but we also have to be aware that there's a lot that goes into organizing a Grand Prix and making it happen successfully. And these people also need to be able to live their lives, okay? Logistically, I just don't think that it's a good idea. So that's one option, is oversaturating the calendar with more races. Not great. What's the other option? We remove tracks from the calendar. And what are those tracks going to be? That's right, the classic old ones that F1 has decided are not cool anymore, for some reason. And we're seeing this happen already. I mean, earlier this year, we got the news that Spa-Francorchamps is going to go on a rotating schedule starting in 2028. You know, Spa-Francorchamps, that track that you like so much? Yeah, it's going away, baby. Also, the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is being replaced next year with the Madrid track. I'll just leave you with this. As someone from Madrid, I hate that they're doing the track in Madrid. It's a shitty street track, nobody likes it. And also, I guarantee you that the average Madrid local is not going to be able to afford it. It's literally designed for tourists, rich tourists, no one else. So it's literally pointless. And also, what was wrong with the Barcelona track? It's a classic track, it's a permanent track, and it's a perfectly fine race. Like, sure, not the best in the calendar, but it's also not bad. There was literally no reason to get rid of it. But, you know, F1 wants their money, so Madrid it is. And then there's the other problem where the regulations in Formula One are changing so much that the old tracks look like they're not good tracks anymore. We saw this just 2 weeks ago in Suzuka. The Formula One cars that we have today are so big that there's no overtakes happening at Suzuka, and the race was a stinker. 130R used to be a really challenging corner. Now you can just take it flat out. It's barely a corner anymore. And so, of course, FOM sees this and they're going, oh, Suzuka's not fun anymore. Suzuka lost its touch. I guess we're not racing there anymore. It's not really worth it. And it sucks because that means that these tracks are being made to look like they're not fun anymore. But it's not the fault of the track, it's the fault of the new regulations. So yeah, that's a different problem entirely, but I think it's worth mentioning too. The older tracks look worse, so that's another incentive for Formula One management to want to get rid of these old tracks. I will say, at the very least, they're trying to maintain Monaco, which I really appreciate. Like, they're really doing all they can. They're really fighting demons to try to preserve Monaco. But all of the other traditional Formula One tracks are not getting that same amount of mercy. So even though they are the fan favorites, Formula One is like, oh, it's not worth it for us to race here anymore. So they go to places like the United States, they go to places like the Middle East, because they're the ones bringing the money. They go to new, shitty street tracks in Europe as well. So it's essentially a complete disregard for everything that makes Formula One exciting in the eyes of the fans. It's a complete disregard for F1 history and tradition and everything that we care about and everything that the sport has meant for all of these years, at least until 2018 or so. I will say, there are some exciting developments though, with like potentially new races being added to the calendar. Like Africa has been in talks recently to come back to Formula One, and that is huge. That would be an incredible thing to happen. Specifically, South Africa and Rwanda are both kind of in talks. It would be so amazing for Formula One to go back to South Africa. I mean, Kyalami is an iconic, classic track, right? And also, frankly, the Formula One World Championship cannot call itself a world championship when an entire continent is excluded from the calendar. So a race in Africa would be fantastic. Other countries in talks: Thailand, South Korea, India, Argentina. These are amazing. These are great proposals, but they need to be done right. We don't want shitty street circuits. We don't want expensive, unaffordable races. And we don't want Mario Kart-esque looking tracks that are all about the spectacle and nothing about the racing or about the culture or about the history. Essentially, what I hate the most is that Formula One clearly just cares about two things: money and aesthetics, which is essentially money. They really are just out here to try to build like tracks that look cool and that will attract a lot of tourists, a lot of rich people, a lot of celebrities who are just gonna be posting it on TikTok and being like, look at this cool place that I'm at. But then they don't actually care about what's happening on track. All of that at the expense of the average Formula One fan who is just at home sitting on their couch and literally all they want is to watch some good racing. That's it. But these new tracks are just something fun and cool for people to look at and post online. It's just spectacle. And there's absolutely no regard for the history of Formula One and the things that are important about it and that we all like about it. And there's also no disregard, apparently, for driver safety, because this turn one should not be happening. This is extremely dangerous, in my opinion. It's just an accident waiting to happen. God forbid Jack Doohan decides he can take that flat out and leave his DRS open. And then the other thing is like, even if they're building these new tracks, they're also completely unaffordable to the average F1 fan. The people that have been following this sport for decades and have dedicated all of their time and energy to following the sport and supporting it, financially or otherwise, they're never gonna get the chance to go to a Grand Prix. Grand Prix were already expensive as it was. Even like for Europeans to travel to other European countries to go see a Grand Prix was already pretty unaffordable. Now it's just impossible. I mean, you can't tell me that the cheapest stands at the Miami Grand Prix are over $200. That's insane. Plus you have to account for all the traveling, your hotel stay, food. It's ridiculous. You're going to be dropping thousands of dollars to go to any of these races. So while it's true that if you can't afford it, you're going to get an amazing fan experience. I mean, look at all this. You're going to be able to go to a fucking Six Flags for free, you know, or included with your F1 ticket. But it's just for a select few. It's for the 1% of Formula One viewership, and probably not even Formula One viewership. Like, they're just gonna invite a bunch of celebrities like they do with Miami. And they're just gonna be there like, yay, F1, I can't wait to see fucking Louis Leclerc in his Red Bull car win another championship. Like, bro, shut up. And then another thing that's upsetting about Qiddiya is the whole issue with sports washing that has become so prevalent with Formula One. That's a whole nother can of worms, and I'm not going to get into it here too much, but Saudi Arabia generally as a country does not have a great track record when it comes to human rights. And the fact that Formula One is allowing the sport to race there, considering the images that has for the sport, is just really upsetting, personally. I'm bothered by Formula One just generally being okay with sweeping a country's controversies under the rug because they're paying us a ton of money. Which is not to say that European countries don't have problems, or the United States. I mean, God knows, the United States has many problems. But I still think we should be able to be critical of the countries that Formula One races in their own way. And sports washing is very much a real issue, and I don't like that it's happening to the sport I like. It's that simple. So yeah, overall, I'm just upset that this Qiddiya track is happening and that it looks like this. It feels disrespectful to the history and culture of Formula One. And yes, it's true that Formula One has changed a lot since it got bought by Liberty Media, but we still have to ask ourselves, is this really what we want F1 to be like? Is this what we want the future of it to be? And I guess another question to go with that would be, do we really have a choice? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe we don't, but still, it's just really sad to see it happening because it just feels like no one's listening to us. No one's listening to our feedback of what we actually want to see. It's just becoming a money-making machine. Hey, I don't know, maybe it gets to a point where we all have to ditch it and go watch IndyCar or something, or Formula E, but I'm hoping that at least we can get some of these proposed new tracks and have some cool racing, or preserve these classic tracks and continue to have some of that tradition in history. But yeah, so far it's not looking good, and I fear we might be cooked. But what are your thoughts about it? Maybe you have a more positive outlook, and if so, good for you, because you're gonna need it. So maybe you can inspire the rest of us. Tell us, how does this make you feel? Are you into it? Are you not into it? And yeah, this video will probably be posted on Sunday, which is when the race is, so I will see you all there at the race, and then expect my Saudi Arabia race review. And that's it for RDC After Hours. Thank you for coming. Stay fueled, and I'll see you on the next race day.